Now let's walk into this space together. And just invite you to notice the way that we're connected beyond the visual and auditory. Feel the deeper connection that's here. And just allowing awareness to open us up. Without the slightest violence or pushing. Just letting everything be here as it is. Even the parts of us that feel closed. There's nothing we need to make happen. You get to allow the struggle with reality to wind down. Struggle to be something. Everything we are gets to be here. It's held in this field of loving awareness. And we can just allow awareness to touch all the parts of us. All the layers of our experience. All the dimensions of what we are. Now we get to be whole. Even touching the places that we've been convinced shouldn't be here. Been conditioned to struggle against. And you just allow awareness all the way into the depths. Just gently touching any place that's scared. Any place that's ashamed. Touching any part of us that's grieving. Any place that's remorseful. Touching any place that's angry. Resentful. Any place that feels numb or shut down. Any place of longing. All these parts of us get to be here. There's space for everything that we are. Innocently arising. And we can notice this quality of the space that we are. The way it includes everything. where it can know life so intimately, so directly. We can open to the great mystery this vast unfolding, so alive, so unpredictable. So out of our control. And yet here we are in this. Mm. Such a miracle that we've gathered here today. A result of all these mysterious forces bringing us together into this space. And there's such a power in this shared intention, this shared willingness to open, to turn towards what's true. It's like we're all gathered in this space, and we get to look around, we get to touch what's here, get to explore together. I'd love to open this space up for you to share whatever's alive for you, whatever you're noticing, whatever's happening. Could be an insight, it could be something that's challenging, it could be a question. And we get to hold each other with such love. So if you'd like to share, feel free to use the raise hand function. If that feels challenging, feel free just to wave your hand. It's so easy for us to imagine that we don't count, we don't have anything to offer. Your presence is such a gift, your experience is such a gift. Yeah, Thomas.
Hi, Adam.
Hi.
Hi, everyone. I'm very grateful for this moment to share with you guys. My question is, do you have any advice on how to maintain openness, being just open to the vastness through the stresses and duties that we have to do in our lives, and dealing with people who are closed and angry and fearful, and rush hour traffic? Do you just have any little advice that you can give to just be falling open all the time? Thank you.
And just to be, when you're just speaking, it's like it's just it's like so the human condition, isn't it? It's you just feel this this longing to be open and available, and the way that the conditioning comes up and shuts us down and causes all kinds of experiences that we don't want.
Right. We just want goodness and push away the bad, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we get to be so gentle with our experience. Like so compassionate with those ways that we get triggered, those ways that we shut down. Just allowing awareness to be so intimate with that experience. Not making it wrong, not saying I should be open or I should be willing or something, but just really like allowing awareness to touch what's actually here.
Mm. I guess it's the momentum of the busyness in our lives that just that loving awareness sort of gets trapped in between, you know, having to do something and then, okay, I can be aware for 10 seconds and then I have to do something else.
Yeah, and the momentum of doing, of course, is part of the conditioning as well. Like the way that we stay so busy, you know, and it's sort of a way of like numbing out, like a way of like keeping us from feeling our experience.
Right.
You know, because when we're having experiences that we think shouldn't be here, and think is too thin of a word. It's like we really, really believe the experience should not be the way it is, you know, and that we're at fault because it is the way it is. But it can feel so threatening to actually feel these places in us.
Mm.
So like the last thing we want to do. So staying busy seems like a good option. It's like, I'll just do something else. I don't want to feel what's here. If we're lucky enough to even notice how we feel. I mean, a lot of it's so unconscious. Just grab the next thing, grab the next thing, do the next thing. We so get to have our experience just the way it is. I mean, this is why practice is so, it's sort of the genius of spiritual practice, is that it's like a habit we can develop of interrupting our conditioning, of stopping. You know, pretty much the reason why all spiritual practices work is because they all create this interruption in conditioning, the opportunity to see and feel what's actually going on here. What's this experience made of? And it's all so innocent. You know, as we go in and we allow awareness and touch these places, we don't discover anything that's like bad or wrong or shouldn't be there. It's all just like life energy, just different shapes of life energy.
Mm.
Brilliantly designed to protect us from feeling things that we just didn't know how to feel when we were very young. Just came up with elaborate solutions, all the conditioning that was built up to keep us from feeling these things. There's actually nothing in here that we mustn't feel.
Yeah, this morning I just was doing my qigong practice, and I noticed that I have my whole life to practice. There's no hurry to get somewhere in the practice. It's a whole life, long-term thing. So that creates the space to be able to like really enjoy the moment instead of trying to get to the next moment.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is the danger with any practice, is often where, you know, there's like a story about like what it's going to do for us and how it'll get us somewhere and it will change things. So it's beautiful to see that story and just to lift that pressure off us. You know, it's like really the invitation is just to be present to what's here, just like so into what's here, without any demand that it change itself. You know, we can imagine, you know, with the story of enlightenment and so on, that you know, we'll arrive at some experience that's sort of like a fixed experience. Everything will be good forever and ever, and it's like really, it's like this. We're really being invited to be present to what's alive, to just be here for it all the different experiences. It's just like seeing how none of this is bad, none of this is yeah, shouldn't be here, damnable.
A big part of my practice is noticing arrogance and the story that I know it all, and just sort of softening into into humbleness.
Mm.
So thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful to notice that habit of thinking we know already. And it's like in the way that immediately creates distance from our experience.
Right.
We think we know what's here, and it's like we have no clue what's here. It's like it's so big and it's so alive and it's constantly moving. I mean, it's so humbling to really take in the reality of how unknown all this is. We have no idea what we're going to feel next, what we're going to think next, where it's all coming from. And this humility creates this beautiful receptivity. This availability. Thank you so much, Thomas. Mm. Betty Chain.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So when you said, which you always say, that everything's welcome here, shame and da-da-da-da, the list, I went right back to like the first day in nursery school when you find out that everything's not welcome there. You've got to become civilized. And then I went, no, it's even earlier than that. It's even earlier than that, of it not being okay for everything to be here. And how poignant that is and how painful that is and how I should even know better on that now and not let that, be there. So it's so deep and so young and so elemental. It's just like I keep going. Let me get this straight. Let me get this straight. Let me get this straight. It's all welcome here. And every time you say that, it just, it's very poignant.
Yeah, so touching to hear. Like the sort of remembrance, your remembrance of the loss of that.
Yeah. That was so intense.
Yeah.
It was such a shock. And I know we all experience it because we all got civilized. But it is a shock to go, oh, anger or a sadness or fear or poopy diaper is not welcome here. It's just such a shock because the being wants to know that everything's okay here.
Yeah.
I told you before, but I think it's true for everybody. My mother used to say to me, you don't mean that. When I would say anything sad or negative or angry, you don't mean that. And I think we all got that message, whether our mother said that or not. So that has to be overcome over and over and over to quiet that you don't mean that voice.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like the rejection of our experience. Yeah, I mean, it's quite something, like the introduction of the possibility of like our experience not being right, not being okay, like not being welcome. It's like being tossed out of the Garden of Eden.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just to see how absurd that is. It's like, how could we be having the wrong experience? How could that ever be true? That's not even possible. Yeah, thank you so much, Mary Jane. Yeah. Yeah, Samwapta River.
Yes. I think she touches on a good topic there of being authentic in our lives. And we do tend to listen to other people. And they tend to have, especially if they're authority figures, if they're parents or your boss, or maybe even your partner, that they say you should do this, or you should go there, or you should be this. They have no idea what it is to really to be yourself, to be authentic. And I think the lack there is that we seem to lack the perspective of recognizing the authenticity of every soul, and that every soul has validity and meaning and truth of who they are within themselves.
Yeah, so it's so beautiful to see that in ourselves, like to sort of acknowledge that that's how it is. That you know, we like no one gets to tell us we're having the wrong experience. You know, that we're not supposed to feel what we feel. I mean, no one gets to tell us that. It's just always false. It's always manipulative. And we get to see it in others. We get to see how, you know, their experience is entirely valid.
I think where a lot of that seems to come from is we tend to, I think, compare ourselves with each other. And we're either feel maybe jealous of someone because they have something you feel you should have, or you feel the reverse is this person's not worth anything because I have all this and they have nothing. And that whole sort of judgment thing, that it's really hard to not. I mean, when you first see someone, the first thing you see, oh, well, how are they dressed, or how do they cut their hair? And we're immediately making all these judgments about this person's life, where really, if you just met them, you really don't know them. Yeah. And it's kind of like the cover of a book. You don't really, know what their story is.
Yeah, and just to see how that activity itself is sort of being driven by this question of like, am I good enough? Am I valid? Do I get to be here? So it's like we're sort of like constantly looking externally to like justify ourselves, like to find people who are below us, and it's like, and then we're sort of threatened by people who we like you say, have things that we imagine we don't have, and it's so we're just sort of, we're caught in that, like, am I good enough?
Yes. And it's not.
Yeah.
And it's not that we're better or worse than each other. We're just different. We're just different aspects.
Yeah, and like everything is so innocent. Our paths, the way we unfold, everything we experience is so innocent. You know, all our gifts and capacities are given to us. You know, even our DNA is given to us. You know, we don't get to claim any of it as like, aha, see how amazing it is that I I mean, it's all gifts. It's all gifts, unearned. And similarly, the absence of capacity, the way that our capacities can be taken from us, can disappear, can never develop. It's like we imagine that we're in control of all this, that we're self-made, and really, when we start to look at our experience, it's like, I don't know what my next thought's going to be. I don't know what my next feeling's going to be. I mean, like at that very basic level, we have no control. Let alone, who's going to show up in our lives and how they're going to interact with it. I mean, that's all, we sort of know already we don't have control over that. Yeah, it's like everything has just been given to us. Our experience is just showing up, flowing through us. We can't hold any of it. Can't grab a hold of the good experience and make it stay here. What are you noticing?
I don't know.
It's quite a shift to realize that we're not running our lives. Never have been.
What do you mean by that?
The experience has been given to us, like that this vast unfolding is not under our control. We're not able to order up our next experience. Like you don't know what your next thought's going to be right now. Don't know what your next feeling's going to be.
But you can influence. You can influence the next thought.
How would that happen? Where would the one that what would the mechanism be or which influence happened?
For example, this session I knew was starting at a specific time today. And when I woke up this morning, that's the first thing I remembered was, oh yes, I need to tune in to the session with you. And having that thought kind of give my life direction for the morning, as trivial it may be, other than just watching the time and organizing my life of I can do these tasks or whatever I felt like up until the session. So I feel like I have control over the lead up to this session.
So the like the thought coming in.
Yes. I had no control of.
Yeah, where did it come from? Yeah.
Well, that thought.
So it's really great to notice there how we do this, like how we make an imagined self, right? So we identify as something. So
Yes.
we identify as the thinker, as the
Yes.
one that. So the thoughts are actually just coming in from who knows where, and then we say, "That's me. I'm the one that thinks." So we say, "I decided, blah blah blah," and it's like, where did those thoughts come from? How did this happen?
Well, in that case, the source for the original thought would come from you, because you put the session out there for that thought.
Really your thoughts.
Yes, you were definitely. Well, we know we're all connected, right? We're all threaded together at some level.
Mm-hmm.
And a week ago, I had no idea who you were. And then a friend, thank you, Anna, she says, oh, you should check this guy out. So she put this thought in my head, right?
Mm.
And how did she get this thought? Well, actually, you gave her this thought, and she gave me this thought. So there's this whole flow of thoughts swirling around. And yes, it's not just me, it's not you. We're individuals to a certain extent, but in the greater picture, it seems like we're all this big pool of thoughts interacting with each other and influencing each other.
Yeah, and thought is just sort of one layer that we've learned to identify, and we've sort of given a lot of credence to. But it's like actually, you know, what's here is much more than thoughts as well. You know, you can see, for example, like the way that thoughts feel to us. So it's sort of like something that happens at a deeper level, like as we hear words, even words inside our heads. And there's a way in which the thought streams are influenced by, you know, what we're feeling. You know, so when we're feeling sort of upset or under pressure, it's like there'll be a certain our thought streams will have a certain energy and pattern to them that they won't have when we're, you know, on a call like this, or feeling in a more relaxed, spacious place. So it's great. It's a beautiful inquiry. This, where's the controller? Where's the lever of control? And it's like everything we look at, it's just like opens up to mystery, space. And when I said that, you know, the mystery of how we all arrived together on this call, I mean, it is so mysterious when you start to, like, you know, if you look closely at how does this happen, I mean, there's such a confluence of movement of so many different levels that brings this particular group together. And
Yes.
then how it unfolds is so mysterious as well.
And that mystery is really, really good. We all need mystery in our lives.
Yeah, it's such a relief to realize we're not in charge.
That's
We're
us
not
off
to
the,
blame. We're not damnable. We're not doing it wrong. What are you noticing?
I just wanted to thank you,
Mm.
express my gratitude.
Mm. Lovely being with you.
Thank you.
Mm. Thank you. Bobby.
Yeah, yesterday I was out house hunting with my sweetie, uh, and you know, it's kind of a stressful process, and I noticed like I would start getting irritated, or he'd start getting irritated, and this. In one of your relationship courses, you've been talking about this inside and outside, and I realized that what hurt me the most, and these were very minor comments, you know, but what hurt the most was feeling like we weren't together.
Mm.
And so that gave me a pathway back in, because it felt like I could say, oh, not just I'm irritated, but like this hurts because we're separate, you know, and I'm feeling that. And that just seemed to really open things up, you know. And yeah. And we felt that together. We felt our way back in together, you know. And it just really felt lovely. And it's almost like it's a constant dance, and it's I mean, mostly we get along really well. It's just these little moments of, you know, when we're feeling tense, and it's like a dance with everyone in my life, you know, just feeling like, oh, this hurts, or this is, yeah, I'm pulling back, and why, you know, it's that separation that feels so painful. Yeah. Yeah.
So powerful to realize that.
Mm.
And to realize that it doesn't have to be that way. That, you know, it can be possible for us to be inside together, to be inside the truth of what's here together.
I just wanted to share that, so thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you. You know, this is something we can and are doing on this call. This really being inside each other's experience, really being inside the truth together. So we don't have to hold ourselves separate or hold other people separate. And if you want to share and you're on the phone, just hit *6 and to unmute yourself, and then just speak. So we can't see your hands. Yeah, Ara.
Hi.
Hi.
So I have a question about working with so in the slowing down and in the noticing what is coming in the rising of some difficult emotion, and sort of finding that middle point between like not repressing, not pushing it away, but also then not like kind of indulging or reliving the story of it in a inflaming way. So that's been like a new place to explore for me. But when you were just talking just now, it felt like there was something even much broader context being offered, and I was wondering if we could pull more out of you on that.
Yeah, it's like so the context of experiences is like so vast and open. Yeah, the field of loving awareness. So sort of being in this field, like the realizing this allows us to touch these places that we typically defend against and are organized to not experience. And we can actually feel like the depths of them. We can feel like the most sort of tender, extreme places from this space of loving awareness. So it's like we're in this larger space, and we're feeling whatever sort of intense feelings, whatever energies want to be felt here. And it's this this sort of larger context that makes it possible for us to experience this, the most sort of poignant places without becoming identified, without sort of contracting in and believing that we are these places, or that we need to get away from them.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hi everybody, just to let you know as well on the phones, it's *9 to raise your hand if you'd like to, and *6 just to unmute yourself. All right, thanks.
Ira, does that address your question?
Yeah. Yeah, that was the sense of it. That just like something about, it's so interesting just because the mind so much wants to find a solution or a fix for all these things that it doesn't want to experience or does want to experience. And yeah, just in receiving your opening talk there, and just even on this call, it feels like there is such a space for well, and not even for, but just such a space where things are somehow free and don't need to be met in a particular way because they just unfold themselves. So the mind would desperately like to know how to access this space once this call is over, but I don't,
Yeah. Yeah, and it's always here. It's like we're, it can help to have someone point to it, and but it's this space, this the context of loving awareness is always here, and it's like it, and we can't grab it. It's like there's no way to mechanically sort of know it or grab a hold of it, or there's no fancy words we can just repeat to ourselves.
And I suppose its unfolding is quite unique in each individual.
Yeah.
Or is your sense that there was a path?
Yeah. I mean, it's
I know.
It's great to really give space for our uniqueness, for our unique unfolding, and in the way that this this sort of recognition of loving awareness sort of develops in us, this this familiarity and trust. And it's such an organic unfolding. It's not something that we can manage or control, or we're in charge of, we're to blame for.
Yeah.
It's so lovely being with you.
Thank you.
Mm. Bobby.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. I just had a follow-up here.
Mm.
That there's something about, I don't know, it feels like there's so much here. And I'm also really enjoying this gathering this morning. It just feels like kind of like the church I never had, you know, like because there's familiar faces and there's this sense of easy flow and love, and it's so beautiful. So thank you. And yeah, it's back to the inside outside and the relationships. There is like there is a sense of like an underused muscle almost, like a like there's a kind of through work I've been doing, there can be a turning in, you know, like my experience and the validity of it and being authentic and then turning. We've talked about this a little bit before, but turning outward, it's like there's some kind of like opening toward the other person that's, you know, sometimes it just happens automatically and beautifully, you know. But if there's, you know, if there's like with a family member, if there's history, you know, it can maybe go like this a little bit. It takes a little bit more time and gentleness and yeah, and there's something really lovely, and there's something also kind of that I'm resisting uh, in doing that, you know, and I don't want to say being I don't know how you've put this before, but it's being with them. Being over there seems too strong, you know, but just being, because we're not really separate. Maybe it's just acknowledging that and opening to that. And yeah, am I on the right track here? Help me. There's an opening muscle that can be a little underutilized. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean we're so conditioned, you know, to like not trust the possibility of that meeting, or to really even like the to even know that it's possible to really meet in the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So like we keep ourselves separate and hidden, and you know, just sort of deal with whatever comes at us and try to manage it or move around it or whatever. And it's like, yeah, the fact that there's actually this possibility for us to really meet in the truth of our experience together. That's such a profound meeting, and how that just dissolves that habitual separateness, that experience of separateness. But it's so how we want to be with each other.
Yeah, it's like nothing feels better than that, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like it's so like what calls to our hearts.
Yeah, and there's a letting go. There's letting go of agenda and letting go of, you know,
Yeah.
a lot. But it's like to be with the other person feels so rich and beautiful. It's like my agenda starts to pale a little bit in comparison, you know.
Yeah, it's like we don't need it when we're inside together. We don't need our agenda. It's like the agenda is sort of a coping strategy for, you know, like not trusting that we can really be in it together. But when we're in it together, it's like everything that's in the field is available to both parties or however many people are in it together, so we can all feel these places.
When you say everything in the field, yeah, I'm just yeah, are you referring to just different love, you know, just love and trust and intuition and deeper messages that are hidden when we haven't surrendered, like kind of like that? Is that what you mean?
Also, like you know, the places that might be hurting or you know, so like so everything gets to be like in the experience, and we can all, you know, be touching these places together. So like when you share on this call, you know, we can all be inside with you. You know, in that experience with you.
Right. Yeah, it's like this. I have this concept of surrender where, well, I have to let go of everything I care about, but that's not really it either. It's something about yeah, something around that fundamental separation. That's
And like trusting that it's possible for other people to care for us. You know, so the things we care about can also be cared about by others.
yes. Kind of feels so unbelievable, but so good.
And it's so the nature of our hearts. I mean, our hearts are so indiscriminate in the way they love. I mean, they do just naturally care about everything that's here. And we all love to be, you know, here with open hearts. It's painful to shut ourselves off, to not feel. You know, we can't afford to let other people's experience in.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bobby. So good to be with you.
To be with you.
Yeah, it's like the oneness of our hearts is just like so palpable. Leonie. You're muted still, I think. Yeah, you are muted, yeah.
Yeah, I've done it, I think. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah, just like feeling and listening, you know, I'm realizing that I nearly always feel separate, you know, just getting a real sense of that and how painful that is. And like, even often or sometimes, like in this group, I'm sort of letting go. There's so many barriers up, even within myself, that I'm really going inwards and letting go of these barriers and getting more in touch with, you know, my own energy, but actually still feeling a little bit detached. And I'd really like some help just to let go, because this is, you know, something that's happened to me spontaneously, but not something that I feel like can, you know, it just sort of happens or it doesn't. And I'd really like to learn how to just let that all go consciously, willfully.
Yeah, I mean, it's so beautiful with just like this, this noticing of like, you know, like the barriers that are there, or like the scared places, and just to bring love to them, and to not make them wrong. It's not like we've got to, yeah, like sort of, yeah, force ourselves to be different or something. It's,
yeah, there's like this real lack of trust that comes up, and like just feeling so different that nobody would understand, you know, where I'm at, where I'm coming from. And I know this is all my mind, but it's very good at putting up these barriers and maintaining them.
yeah, yeah, it's like it's so like that sort of the voice of shame, like the experience. It's like that we're, you know, like we're different in a way that's unacceptable. It's sort of like, yeah, we sort of get like intellectually other people are different and everyone's got their own thing going, but it's like, and maybe they're okay, but it's like, but we sort of think like, but my particular experience, that's not allowed. It's like we feel like we don't belong. It's sort of like that's the sort of like the root experience of shame is like, we don't belong here, we don't get to be here, we're not okay, we're not having the right experience. And it causes, it's like separates us. It's like we're just, you know, we just don't feel like it's like we're acceptable, like that it's possible for us to be acceptable. Now, what's here right now for you?
There's like a sort of wanting to just shut down, detach, and then a real, my heart is very active and moving and really wanting to just drop these walls. And there's sadness. Having most of my life been like, yeah, not allowed myself just to really live, you know, really experience what's real.
Yeah, and just to like allow that sadness and just to touch that beautiful place in us that so wants to live, so wants to make contact. that longing. Like we just so want to give ourselves like so fully. We just want to love so fully. It's like that's just the nature of us, like the sort of our basic nature.
Mm.
And there's just all this fear and shame and yeah, in the way of it. But it's like it's like there's such beauty in our hearts, the core of what we are. What are you noticing now?
Mm. Yeah, just they're really feeling the love, the depth of the love and the real longing to just burst out of this prison. And just also feeling so many thoughts and blockages, trying to stop me, or like reasons why
Yeah.
it's not okay right now.
Yeah, it's so great to make like contact with like the aliveness that lives there, that love, that longing. It's sort of like that's the place that makes it possible for us to move through the fear that's there, the terror, to feel, even be willing to face it, to feel it. It's like,
it's like very much in my nature to look at the obstacles and try and clear them, and then not really, like you said, the power is in the truth, isn't it? And what's underneath all of that.
Yeah, and it's like we identify, we're so sort of habitually identified with our limitations, with our conditioning. And it's like to see that that's like the conditioning is just something that's here in space time. It's, it's here as long as it's here, and then it disappears. It's like what we are is something else. Yeah,
I've been feeling very cut off from that, from myself lately. Just had a phase of being very busy and worried about certain things, and just allowed myself to get really caught up in my mind, and and just sort of imbalance in the body and everything, really.
Yeah, and even say allowed yourself to do it. It's like the conditioning has a momentum, So like these cycles and these ways that we avoid what our experience is and shut down. It's like they just sort of take us over. Like the conditioning just shows up, and it just has a way of running, and it's brilliant the way it conceals itself. I mean, there are mechanisms in the conditioning to keep it unconscious. So this is why it's so powerful to do something different, like being in a space like this, or and allowing awareness into this place, like sort of like, oh, what's going on, and suddenly we can just see like, oh, that's just conditioning, and there's something else that's here that really wants to live and love. Yeah, it's not what I am. This sort of unconscious busyness and stuff.
I'm so aware of that, but like you said, sometimes it feels like I'm not in control at all. Like it's just like, I just got I was a month ago completely rooted in my heart, feeling really open, and then just like got swept away on this huge wave. And now I'm sort of more and more realizing it, so I suppose becoming more conscious again. yeah, it's just, anyway, I'm just looking now. Yeah, I'll come back here and stop looking at the all that.
Yeah, and like the identification, so it's like, so it gets to be here when it's here. Like we get to feel it, and we get to feel into what's going on in the layers, and especially the places that are hurting or scared, like that are really alive. I mean, there's a vitality in them. You know, when we actually touch what's there, it's like how scared we are. It's like we allow ourselves to feel that. It's like it's so alive. But it's like, but we're not identifying with it. It's like it's just stuff that's like moving through the field. So it's not that it's like we're bigger than all the experiences we have, any of the experiences we ever have. Yeah, so we so get to be here, you know, without apology. And we get to have the experiences we have, you know, even the experience of unconsciousness and being shut down and everything. So we get to have all these experiences. It's part of the unfolding. It's not our fault that we're scared. You know, we didn't choose it. Stuff happened to us when we were very young. What are you noticing now?
Well, I did have quite a pain in my left chest, but it's easing. Yeah, and just there was like a looking back to when I first closed down, and just a real like, yeah, very young, very young. So yeah, it wasn't a choice. Well, it was the best choice that I could make at the time.
We just did what we could do, you know, the resources we had available.
Yeah, and just some more sadness and just.
Yeah, just so much compassion. You know, it's all the movement of love, you know, all the conditioning and all the defenses and the unconscious and everything. It's all the movement of love. It's like just trying so hard to keep us safe.
Yeah, I'm really feeling that love's come back now, really strong with the compassion for that, like, you know, for my little child.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's the mind's just trying all sorts of ways to stop me staying with this, you know. I just
yeah, sort of like anything that's alive is like a problem. It's
Big problem.
it's like, how do we manage it? How do we control it?
Mm.
How do we get back to pretending that we're in control of it? When we become intimate with what's here, it's so alive, so vital, so wild.
Mm. Yeah.
So beautiful. Body knows how.
I'm feeling a lot of letting go, actually. Yeah, just like a general softening and sinking down into the moment again. Yeah, it's like life can chuck something at the end. Yeah, it's like, oh, I have to control this. But really, you're right. Obviously there is no control ultimately. Yeah, because then it's, yeah. Anyway, I'm coming back to here. Yeah, and it feels, yeah, I feel more part of everything, like more connection with everyone here that I can see, and with myself, obviously.
Yeah, lovely to have you with us.
Yeah, well, I'm happy that I could join.
Thank you so much for sharing yourself with us. Really so beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, Janine.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you, Leonie. I feel like I think my thoughts hijack my heart, and they take me to this. There's so much misuse of power in the world, and it's like, and I don't know what to do about it. And somewhere it draws me away from myself, and then I lose touch with who I am, because I just feel powerless. I feel powerless and overwhelmed. And it was only when you were talking to Leonie I realized how that those thoughts, they kind of then judge, well, who am I to be feeling love when there's so many people too small, and powerless to feel anything. And then I suppose my question to you is, how do you deal with things bigger than yourself that are going on that affect a lot of people? you know, that kind of sadness and horror and distress in the news, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, everything is bigger than me.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's like I lose me in thinking about it.
It's like the attempt to, if we try to manage or control it or try to fix it, it's like, you know, it's like if, yeah, we can feel how it, like it's like it's sort of like we're trying to distance ourselves from it. Like it's so heartbreaking, you know. It's like it's so sort of cuts right to the core of us.
Mm.
You know, to meet what's really here.
Well, I have no way of meeting it apart from being horrified and impotent, really. Yeah, but I lose my heart connection in it.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's just like, so if we just go into the experience of horror, if you notice that.
I don't want to be here, I think. When I feel that horrified,
Yeah.
I just don't want to be here.
Yeah. 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 It's like the movement away is so quick. It's just like, that shouldn't be here. So that we're just, you know, it's sort of like we just, yeah, we just, it's so quick.
Yeah. And I there's something terrifying that one human being can do it to another human being. Whatever has happened to make that circumstance. And I as a human being could probably do that if the circumstance was such that I too could do that. And I think that's terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah, and just to meet the fear there, like it's a fear that this is not meetable, that we can't be present to the horror.
Yeah.
And you know, this is like this fear is like what makes it possible. It's like the turning away is like what makes it possible for horror to take place. The fact that we're not actually feeling what's real. It's like this is, it's like it's,
yeah.
It's sort of the most powerful thing we can do is to allow ourselves to feel it. To be so sensitive, to be so here, to be so engaged.
But I think there's a terror when you meet it in the other person who isn't feeling it. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, just invite you into that place of horror, of terror. Just to feel it, just to really allow yourself to get it. It's sort of like I can feel how the mind's still like trying to mediate the experience. Like it's sort of like, you see it, it's just not going to work. There's nothing we can do. It's sort of like this.
Yeah, no, it's just kind of like yeah, it's kind of like leaving your body behind and just kind of stretching out your fingers so you know you're still alive, but actually everything else is shut down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, we're so conditioned to be shut down. There's so many people going around doing everything in a shut down place.
Mm.
And it's, you know, terror, shame. so hard to feel it, so hard to allow ourselves to feel it. What do you notice?
It's like I'm moving back from my fingers into my heart. And that's something about having you there, and you're not going anywhere. So I'm grateful. And to you all guys for being there too.
Yeah, so with your heart. So for the life of your beautiful heart, the expression of your beautiful heart. Depth of feeling, sensitivity. So beautiful.
It's funny that as I close my eyes, I just see it's a skeleton. That's what I see.
What do you feel?
Oh, if I breathe, there's a peacefulness about bones, skeletons, bone rather than the puffy stuff that goes around a bone. Yeah. It's a bit like my brain is all the puffy stuff, and the bone is actually who I am.
Yeah, beautiful. So lovely being with you, Janine. Mm.
And with you.
Mm.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone else.
Mm. Michael.
Yeah, go ahead, Michael. You're unmuted now.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I just wanted to say thank you. I came on the call thinking that I was just going to sit back and listen. And then I realized I really wanted to just share and that I was afraid to share. So I thought, okay, it's time to jump in. And I just want to say that everyone sharing today has really mirrored and everything that I've been thinking and going through, and like Janine just said about the news, that just takes me out of me. And I realize I need to turn off the news and not get so hooked in to it, and just be where I'm at and, connect to what I'm feeling. And I think that's really all I need. I mean, that's what I needed to hear. It's just connect to who I am and what I'm feeling in the moment. And anyway, that's really all I wanted to say. I just want to say thank you so much, everybody.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. Yeah, really. Yeah, so appreciate your courage in speaking. It's like, I mean, and everyone who's shared, it's like it's quite something to, to share our hearts.
Yeah, thank you. I'm done.
Yeah, and just to let yourself experience the attention of the group, the loving attention of the group.
Okay.
Yeah, like it's we sort of imagine we'll get killed, we'll be attacked.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and just it's like, it's such a gift, when we share ourselves with each other. We get to experience you. It's so beautiful. Experience your heart. You're so speaking for all of us. I mean, everyone who shared today, it's like they're speaking for all of us.
Yes.
We're like exploring places in the one body that we are. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
We got time for one more?
Yeah, there's some Wapto, he's got his hand up, so I'll just unmute you. There we go, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank Michael for bringing up that thing about the news and how we can take a certain control of our lives, of how outside influences can affect us.
Mm-hmm.
And the most simple thing for me to give joy in my life is to turn off the news. And the second most important thing after that is to turn off the weather channel. Because you worry about, oh, it's going to rain, or, oh, it's going to be cloudy. And it's just like these outside influences, it's our choice to turn on the news and to turn on the weather channel. And it's so simple just to hit that off button. And I just want to thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, so we get to notice, you know, what's influencing us, you know, like what influences are here, what's moving. And it helps, it's like that as we become more aware, it's like it's sort of, you know, we're able to feel into what's happening like beneath the sort of the conditioned unconsciousness. So often just interrupting any habit can often be helpful in just that it reveals sort of what's underneath it. Yeah, thank you. Okay, Thomas.
I just wanted to share, I've been noticing the movements of expansion and contraction, and how relating with family members or anyone who I have a history with, there's an energetic contraction around the possibilities of how we can relate. And I'm grateful for learning to relate in a more expansive way and expanding to the possibilities that are here in relating with people who I have a history with. And
yeah, it's like we have conditioned grooves with people. So there's sort of anyone we've sort of related with over time. There can be a way in which we go to a certain level of relating, or we just sort of play the same sort of way of avoiding each other often. So it's to see the possibility for intimacy, for being in the truth together, is really powerful. You know, to lean into that more, like what's, you know, is there a way for us to really be together? You know, to actually like to have our hearts meet. Yeah, it's powerful to wake up to that possibility that it's, you know, we're not who we imagine ourselves to be in our relationships, and the people we're relating to are not how we imagine them to be either. You know, there are other possibilities there.
right, yeah, just feeling it's an energetic contraction to the possibilities, and then catching that, and then let's expand again to more. There's more possibilities here. So it's cause and effect.
Yeah, it's like we're used to playing a role, and in order to play the role, we deaden ourselves. It's like we contract ourselves in, and we're like, okay, perform, you know, how we are in this relationship. You know, son, daughter, whatever, sister, brother, co-worker.
Mothers, fathers, yes, yeah. Thank you. Sharing these increases the power of the truth versus just keeping it inside.
Yeah.
So thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah, thank you, Thomas. Yeah, and thank you, everyone. I mean, it's just so amazing how we can come together like this and just open to each other, open to the truth together. So beautiful. Yeah, there's such a sense here of how we are one body. And we're just so supporting each other in doing this. Yeah, thank you. And thank you to Open Circle for bringing us here. And Amy for hosting us today.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks everybody so much for coming together and supporting each other in this way. It's been really, really beautiful to witness.